Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Get the Bag podcast. I am your host, Gladia Castro. Got my co host, Tim Park. What
What
is
up,
up?
fam?
What is going on? It is the last episode of the year 2023. It's also not only the last episode, it's a very special episode just for the fact that it's our 2 year anniversary for Get the Bag
Yep,
podcast, which is crazy. Time flies. I remember
I know.
I'm like, I even look different. I'm like, who's that? Who's that girl on the I'm like, who replaced her? Um, just so much. It
That's
just shows so
funny.
much can change in 2 years. Um, and we've been consistent through and through in those two
Yeah,
years.
yeah.
Every week we've done an episode. And so it's
Mhm.
really exciting to kind of recap sort of one some of our favorite episodes that we've had. We've had amazing guests on this year. Um,
Yeah,
Maybe some key takeaways, and then kind of what we're looking forward to next year. These are it's interesting because like I feel like these are kind of like we're speaking things into existence. Like if we were to
yeah.
rewatch last year's, remember like you came over to
Mhm.
my old place in North Hollywood.
Right.
We kind of did it and like recapped. It's like we're kind of putting our goals out there. We're
Yeah,
manifesting what we want out there with this. So it's really excited to kind of dive deep into that. But before we get into that, don't forget to like, subscribe to our channel. We've grown a good amount as well, which I'm really proud of, and that's kind of
yeah.
going to be one of the focuses next year is to have more growth um, and offer more services, resources for our viewers. But we're on here every week. Make sure you guys drop the like, drop some comments, questions, as we love getting some feedback. So
Absolutely. Absolutely.
2023, couple more days left of the year. We were just talking about it offline. We've had some heavy hitters um
Mhm.
come on the podcast. So we've done about approximately like 51 episodes, and 21 of those were with guests, which is way more than we
Yes.
did last year. It's just an amazing thing. Definitely have to thank our guests that came on and took the time to
Yep.
chat with us and um, take time out of their day to share their knowledge, and lots of gems were dropped within the span of
Oh
those
my gosh.
21 guests.
Yeah. And not just, for us, it's like a lot of content for us too, and
Hmm.
we can kind of repurpose that as well too, but I think the most important thing was the connection
Mm,
with all of our guests, right? They were
yeah,
really cool people. They had their own story. They had, you know, ups and downs just like we have, and you know, and it's just sharing their story with everybody and their journey too. And that's most of our focus is that because people we're hoping people will resonate with our guests and us and enjoy um what their story and successes are and even failures are. We've talked
yeah,
about that too with some of our
right.
guests as well.
We've gone very vulnerable with a lot of the
Mhm.
guests, and I think thinking about like our mission and kind of the value that we bring on our podcast is a lot of the people that we bring on, they're maybe wouldn't say they're influencers or they're like, everybody, they're not your Pace Morbies or Max Maxwell's per
Right.
se that usually you
Mhm.
hear on a podcast and such, but they're just regular people that are in different stages across their journey, but ultimately the goal is still the same on like building generational wealth, making a difference,
Mhm.
making money, but also doing what they love at the end of the day.
Yes.
All these people who we've spoken with, they're very passionate about what they do, and I think for us to kind of spotlight them, even if it's for 30 minutes, I think has been super um I don't know, just really gratifying. And
Yeah.
just I've just been really appreciative because I feel like we've taken so much and learned so much from these conversations that even it's inspired us in some aspects and what we can implement in our business. But I think the vulnerability of sharing things that aren't really talked about all the time, you know,
Mhm. Yeah.
and having an open um, stage for that.
Right. And I think it's like I think it's the importance of conversation. Like we're having these conversations on a weekly basis with these guests and each other, right? And
Yeah.
I think just that's important to grow in your business or grow in your life is to have these, uh, you know, inspiring conversations around your business or different aspects of your life too. So I think
Right.
you'll grow as a person and as a business by having these type of conversations. And it's
Yeah.
hard when sometimes you're a solo entrepreneur and you're trying to find your way, and I think you know if you're not going out and networking and you're just on your computer all the time and sending emails or whatever, I think um you have to have that connection with people,
Yeah.
whether it's Zoom or
Absolutely.
whatever it's like this. So, yeah.
And I think that's it. We bring very organic
Mhm.
conversations where people don't feel like they're being like interviewed. It's like, hey, we're just having a casual conversation, very comfortable. Because there's some people who don't like going on Zoom or whatever, being no,
Yeah,
like knowing that they're going live somewhere like that scared them. But
right.
just the way I think something we do really well is we make people feel comfortable, and the way we navigate the conversation, it's very organic, very warm, and I think that comes out. And I think about even yesterday's episode we recorded with John Lewis, how in the
Mhm.
beginning, before we even went live, or not live but recorded, he was like, so how do you want to do this? Do you want to like chat
Mhm.
about, get to know each other a little bit and then start? And I was like, no, like we're getting to know you as the audience is getting to know you at the same time.
Mhm.
And when I said
Mhm.
that, I was like, oh, that's actually a really cool way, interesting way to do it. Because usually for some podcasts, like, yeah, you have a call before and like, hey, does this make
Yeah,
sense? Do we gel? And maybe not all the time it's gonna happen. But I think every guest we've had on here, it's kind of been like that, where it's like,
mhm.
hey, we've never really met or chatted, but hey, we're
Right.
we're about to have this conversation. And then to be able to have it still come off organic and warm,
Mhm.
really show something about, well, one, probably our people skills, like we make people
Sure.
feel comfortable. But I really liked how he was like, I like that. And
Mhm.
then the conversation went really, really well.
Yeah.
We went really deep in some concepts, some parts of the conversation. But I think that's a really cool way to take a look at it, is like, hey, the same way our audience is getting to know you, like so are we. And so
Right.
I think the way we navigate the conversation, it's a little bit about that. So and it's kind of hard, right, doing it live. You
It
you don't
is.
want it to come off awkward either. So you're
Mhm.
kind of have to. We're both kind of feeling it out as we are going through the episode or the
Yeah,
recording.
and I think it's learning each other's ebb and flow and, the guests' ebb and flow too, and I think we've
Yeah.
got a good cadence on when to talk and not interrupt. I mean, early on, we were on top of each other sometimes and stuff. So
Right.
I think we've gotten really better about that, and just letting people finish and letting, just having a natural conversation and listening to each other and the guest as well.
Right. No, absolutely. And I think I mean, it's taken some time to get used to. I mean, podcast, although everyone's starting a podcast now, that's something we've kind of learned too, is like
Yeah,
the cadence of having a podcast and how we
sure.
present ourselves and having conversations. So that's definitely a really good point you brought up. But I would say, what's maybe a couple, although not say we love all our guests that came on, but what's
Yeah.
what's a couple episodes that really stood out to you this year? Because looking at the list, the 21 that we did have on, like
Right.
We had some really good conversations.
No, there's a couple that kind of stood out. Curtis was pretty powerful. The self belief one, I think, he has a great story, and we've seen him grow. Like that's really the coolest part is that, he was very um, new to real estate, and then
Hmm.
as he's in the group, and we've seen him grow just as a person and as a business entrepreneur and in real estate has been cool. And then hearing his story and his background was really really cool. And I think he had an interview with Chris as well too on
Hmm.
his podcast too. So he's continuing to share his story, and I think we were the catalyst to help him kind of get that get his story out, and I think his story is very
And I'm okay
powerful.
with that.
Yeah, of course, of course.
Yeah.
We support our guests, and it's not all about, like you said, the big hitters. It's all about exposing people's kind of story and then sharing that and then having a real conversation around it. So um another one was always Jeff Trimble,
Oh, he's
my boy.
always great.
Yeah, he's an amazing dynamic personality, and he spits a lot of knowledge. Like there's a lot of
Yeah, if you
gems
need to
every
be
time he's on.
inspired,
Yes,
every time.
100%. What else was there? You know what? I think we had, was it Anna on, I believe?
Mm-hmm.
So she was really nervous beforehand, but she did a really good job. Like, she has a great story as well too, um, and she didn't. I don't think she realizes how much she's done. That you know, um, she may be newer to real estate and stuff, but she's done flips, and she's done a lot more
She
than
has
a
an
lot.
event space.
Yeah, event space, and she's killing it on that. So I think it was really cool to hear her story as well too.
No, you took some good ones, and I realized there are some that we missed in the filter. So we actually did 23
Oh, okay.
um interviews. Um but I the ones that come off the top of my head, that's not the ones that you mentioned. I mean, I think about the conversation with Andre, who's such a
Mm-hmm.
staple
Shout
in the
out.
U. Shout out to Andre. He kicked off the new year, and he was the
Yeah.
perfect guest to have on to kick off the year. He just has this, like, it's the same thing kind of with Jeff. Like, he just has his
Yeah.
energy. He knows his way with words, how to
He
inspire
does.
people. And so much so that he's really taken our the morning calls in the U, which is something,
Mm-hmm.
if you're in the charged up community ran by Chris Jefferson, you one of the things that they do Monday through Friday is they do these inspiration calls from 8:30 to 9:30. It's like a 1 hour call, but we have like almost 90 people in there.
Mm-hmm.
And Andre runs it, and it's essentially like a theme for the day, where it's like a question of, like, for example, with 2024 coming, like, what are things that you're doing to get your business right, or make sure you're hitting your targets, whatever the case may be. And
Mm-hmm.
we have some really deep conversations. So it was just really awesome to have someone like Andre kind of kick us off with that. Babbitt was great as well, who
Yeah.
has a super inspiring
Wow.
story. I mean, that guy, if you've been through it and you think like there's no other way, like, stop this episode and go watch Babbitt.
100%.
How to regain control of your life, because it's another inspiring story that anything can be done, especially when your back is against the wall. And he's just fantastic. So he was great. I also think of my guy Charles McEwen, and shout out to Chuck, because his episode is our highest
Yes.
viewed episode.
Yes. Shout out to Chuck.
Like, we have
Man.
over 5,000 views
Yeah, that's
because
amazing.
of that. And for those who are curious on what that video was, it's the how to make $10,000 a month wholesaling land.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming people are getting into wholesaling land because of it. So I think it's like, how we probably titled it something.
Mhm.
But so many people commented saying how much value they've gained just from watching that episode. And we did have Chuck on the year before,
Mhm.
but I think we were just kind of talking about his experience. This one, it was very intentional talking about what he's doing in land, and he's doing amazing as well. And it's, he's
Mhm.
my personal friend too. And him and I have conversations all the time. And yeah, he was great. All really great. I mean, I can go on and on. I mean, we had
I know, right?
so many amazing people. Anna's definitely sticks out, but I think people that also kind of helped in terms of what we can implement in our business. I mean, Noah
Mhm.
Daniels, Wilder
No, it
with
was
like
great.
buying apartment buildings.
Oh, yeah.
Um, we had Mike Morawski talking about
Mm.
multifamily and syndication. Um, Matt Vasquez, my friend, diversity in tech, Latoya, real
Oh,
estate and
yeah,
life
Latoya.
insurance. Yo, we can go on. Our recent one, Jake Burhans, like scaling his real estate wholesaling business. Dalen, like I can literally go down the
I
line.
know. I
There's just so
know.
many amazing guests, but I would say I love all of them. But
Yeah,
if I had to
me too.
pick some, I mean, yeah, we even think Cheryl. We had Cheryl in the U
Oh, yeah.
too. Her
Mhm.
story is amazing. It's just there's so many people, and if we missed you, believe me, all of them are as our favorites. I'm literally just trying to like read all of them. But I really, yeah, there's so much knowledge that was dropped, and just so
Mhm.
grateful for a lot of it.
Yeah, and, shout out to the U. I mean, they showed out, this year, and they agreed. I know a lot of them were a little shy to get on the camera or get on the mic,
They're
so
still shy, still trying
I
to get them
know.
over too.
Exactly. So we're trying to convert them more, in 2024, but because each one of them has a great story, so I think, uh, we need to get Camille on here as well
We
too.
have a whole group of you members that are killing it in the last
Yes,
year. Camille's always been a huge supporter. One
100%.
thing I do miss of having him live is she was always joining in, dropping in the
I
chat.
know.
So definitely we'll have to get her on here for sure. I know we're running on time, but what's one takeaway, Tim, that you have from this year, and one thing you kind of look forward to next year?
Well, I think, everybody had a story, but I think everybody persevered,
Mm,
and kind of made their own way into success. And not each of us has that straight line of success. It's always kind of up and down, situation, low points, high points, and that's what this business is. And one thing I can take away is that we've been through it. I've been through it. So just to keep on going and pressing, because all of these stories and people are inspiring, and that's what has inspired me to continue on and just keep pushing for sure. So that's kind of my takeaway is just the perseverance of each of our guests, over the last year. So,
yeah, that's definitely a good one. What are you looking forward to next year?
oh, there's a lot of exciting things. I mean, like you know, we have our goals and plan putting in place, and we're tightening that up as well. And then, just excited to see where this podcast is going to go this year
Mhm.
as well. I'm excited about, technology, utilizing new technology into our process, and um, which has been mind blowing in
Yeah.
itself. Utilizing AI and how that's working within our systems. So I'm really excited about that. So our partnership and friendship and has grown so much, and I really appreciate you and a lot everything you've done over the last couple of years as well too. So I just want to give you your flowers as well, and
Uh,
I really appreciate that. So looking forward to doing
yeah.
more, and I'm excited about 2024.
No, absolutely. I mean, I ditto to everything you just said. Like, always appreciated, your friendship, and now that we've kind of made it official, and like, partnering up and really taking our skills to the next level, I think is something I'm looking forward to really pushing ourselves, not just individually or
Mhm.
separately, but now like as a team, as a core team, and just seeing where that takes us. And not just that, but I think taking our brand to the next level. That's always kind of like showcasing,
Yeah, there we
you
go. We
know,
got
the
the
the the
swag.
s- the swag, doing more events, stuff like that. So definitely look out for that next year. That's something we are working on, for sure. We're not just gonna say it, like it is something we're doing, and as a course as well. So we'll definitely drop more information about that. And I guess just to kind of end it, my biggest takeaway too, over this year is like everyone, I mean, it's almost like what you're saying, there's perseverance, like everyone has to overcome something.
Mhm.
So if I were to add to that or mention something different, it would be, um that everyone was at one point in your shoes,
Mm.
right? Maybe more perspective. I think it's super easy for anybody to compare themselves or be like, "Well, I'm not on that level, or I'm not on this level. I'm not doing that or this." It's like somebody was at your shoes and took action, did something about it. Um, and if you don't like your situation, do something about it. I think, the people that we brought on, and just to kind of see their journey, from start to, and it's never going to finish. That's the thing. Like it's always going to be
Mhm.
ongoing. But just to see how people have been pushing through, um, and continuing to better themselves, I think it's just the marathon just doesn't stop. So that was kind
Yeah,
of my biggest takeaway.
that's awesome. And I'm just looking forward to like touching base with a lot of the guests, in 2024 and having some
Yeah,
people
do
back
some
on.
deals too.
Yeah, doing some deals with people. There's a lot of exciting things happening and in the background for sure. And we'll be sharing those, wins and losses for sure during the podcast as well too.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Hope you guys got a lot out of it. Definitely the ones that we mentioned, check those out.
mhm.
Click into our profile. And you'll see all those amazing guests that we had on. Check them out. Next year, we'll definitely work on having more guests, having more events, just more everything.
Yeah,
But appreciate you guys as always. Have a safe and happy new year. We'll see you guys in 2024.
peace.